Welcome to the Brain Candy Podcast, episode 573.
Woo! This is Sarah. I'm here too.
That's all.
That's all. Hey, did you see we got tagged in the Mariska Hargitay, a.k.a. Agent Benson, or Captain Benson, on Law & Order SVU, had a cake for the 500th episode. They tagged us, and I was like, what the heck? No reference to Brain Candy?
Well, to be clear, Mariska did not tag us.
Right. Oh, right.
Brainiac underneath.
Was there confusion in how I said that?
Would
you think some people might be confused?
Yes.
Oh. Well.
We should have been tagged in the photo.
Look at us. That's fancy. Thank you.
Yeah. Their cake looked pretty good.
It did. It looked really good. And so, I just was like laughing at that because we were just talking about how they should have a cake. And then,
I think that one was from October, though.
Oh, really? Well, I don't care.
Yeah, let's
fine.
Pretend like... Okay.
Let's pretend. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, how's my Suze?
Oh, real good. Santa's workshop over here is a buzz.
I like that. Tell me what that entails.
Well, I've got a spreadsheet, and
see, that's so fun. That is not wasted on Christmas.
Yeah, you appreciate
you're the right person for the job.
Yeah, it's like Monica Geller's Christmas.
This is great. You love it.
Because my biggest fear is forgetting someone or thinking I got something and then I didn't. For example, I sent you your presents, but then I remembered I had ordered a book from an independent bookseller, which I love doing, but we're spoiled by Mr. Bezos.
Yes.
And so they take a lot longer from independent sometimes. Yes. So that'll be coming separately. But if I didn't have the spreadsheet, I might forget.
That's really impressive and really the right way to do it. And you're so kind to be giving to others because I have been basically a Grinch and a Scrooge, and I have been giving to yours truly.
You know what? That's fun too.
Yeah, I went a little nutso. Black Friday? Yes. Oh my God, I forgot. I'm forgetting words all of a sudden. What's wrong with my brain today?
I'm surprised you did that though, because you were like Marie Kondoing because you're moving.
Well, I'm Marie Kondoing, but also I need to Marie Kondo some of the stuff that's way past its prime and realize that I'm not. This is the thing. This is kind of in line with what I mentioned, hinted at maybe 2 episodes or so ago about how I have this theory after talking to some friends about there's and I don't know if it's only that I'm only seeing this in women, but I don't see it as much in men, or maybe it's just who I'm talking to and sample size problem. But it's this struggling for the sake of struggling. I don't, and it's almost kind of goes in line with I don't feel deserving of this. But also, there's a badge of honor for not having to need,
your low maintenance kind of.
Yeah, like that. And I was talking to a friend, and we were talking about how we both were raised by single moms, and single moms who were very I got it.
Yes,
I can handle it. Self-sufficient. And they did not. There was never another man, and never a stepdad that came in. Never for both of us. There was never. So what we saw consistently was a woman doing things by herself and not needing any help. And anytime somebody tried, she would be like, "No, I'm better doing it," and they didn't do it as well, and she was better doing it herself.
Yeah,
and I feel like that message really got internalized. And so there's this kind of you
you make do.
Yeah, you make do. And I was thinking about that being something that my family, the women in my family kind of wear as a badge of honor, and I remember one of the memories I have of my grandma who's sitting right next to me on my desk. If you're a Patreon
look at her.
patron, then you could see her in this video.
She looks like your mom.
That's
I just
Grandma
saw
Eleanor right there.
I didn't realize how much she resembled your mom.
Which means I hope that she looks like me too.
Yeah, the genes are strong.
Yes. And so there's this memory I have of my grandma who never asked for anything or did anything. She was like, you know, a badass bitch. Mm-hmm. And she spent the night at my house. And I go to, like, she gets up in the morning and, like, does her thing in the bathroom. And I go to, like, do my thing in the bathroom or clean up after her, whatever I'm doing. And I notice, whatever I noticed gives me enough information to ask the question, Grandma, did you brush your teeth with soap? And she says, yeah, I didn't want to bother you and ask you for toothpaste. So I figured it would be just as good. And I was like, this is the problem in our family. I did not realize it at the moment. At the moment, I was just like, Grandma, like that. I can't believe you did. Like, but putting it all together of this, I don't want to be how she would think it would be a burden when I'm just making breakfast in the other room to come in and say, excuse me, do you have any toothpaste? Which is a normal thing to ask, which offends no one and is a bother to nobody. And if I said, Grandma, would you be upset if somebody asked you for toothpaste? She'd be like, no. In fact, I've got a whole thing over here for guests, and when they ask me that, which I do, hoping somebody will ask me for that, because that, like, and it's so backwards. And so I feel like these kind of messages have been passed down of you can do it yourself. You don't need any help. If it ain't like I have no problem buying somebody else something nice, but I'm not going to be spending that. I'm not getting myself the fancy underwear. Come on. That's for my friends. Like, that's ridiculous. So it really does need to be a
balance.
Yeah. So what? So I've just been kind of like grappling with that whole or throwing around that kind of like, I don't know. It's just been like swirling in my noodle, and
I
about
like the
how
idea.
These messages got.
I do like the idea of making use of what you already have. It's good for the environment and stuff like that. But it can get out of control.
But when you buy the $12 sweatpants at the Black Friday sale 3 Black Fridays ago.
Yeah. Maybe it's time
and
for a new pair.
And it's cost per use. Mm-hmm. And you rotate between the same 3 to 4 sweatsuits every day. So we're talking in 3 years, you probably wore that 300 times.
Yeah.
We're less than a half a cent for what, like, at a certain point, like, Sarah, toss out and get it. It might be time to and like the idea that I can be like $16 for a bottle of wine. Yeah, sure. No problem. I'm going to drink that. But
priorities.
$14 for a pair of sweatpants. I'm going to have them for 3 years. And I'm literally, like, I was like, remember when I posted that picture of me in the tie-dyed sweatsuit, and I was like, am I able to wear this to the grocery store? Like, yes or no? That is one from the 3 years ago Black Friday haul.
Okay.
And that one, you can't notice the stains on it because it's tie-dyed. Shout out to tie-dye for helping out messy girls everywhere.
To tie-dye.
Because now, actually, I'm just kind of thinking about that. You know, hippies, maybe, dirty, chuley.
Yeah.
Hides the dirt, pattern.
Yeah, it's a real
okay, I get it. I see it.
Yeah.
I see what we were doing there. Smart thinking. Tip of the old hat to you, hippies.
I think this is an important concept of self-care. And I also think if you want to practice self-care, get yourself a Theragun today.
I'm going to get this for my brother for Christmas.
That's what I got for my brother.
He's a firefighter, and I think this is...
Oh, yeah.
Hello. And he has, like, bad everything because, like, he's a firefighter, like, knees and, like, all that. He just uses them all the time.
Great.
Like, I'm going to get him that right now.
It is such a great gift for yourself or someone you love. It's a percussive therapy device that allows you to massage tension in your muscles and get that deep muscle tension out We're all like knotted up from the stress of life.
Just get both my brothers that.
Yeah, what are you doing? I can't believe you haven't done this yet.
And I didn't get one of them a birthday present. I forgot. So.
This will be a twofer.
Yeah, there you go.
Whether, you have an injury or just like life as a human on this earth is stressful. And this was such a nice way to relax and treat your body properly. And it is high tech, baby. It's got that screen on there. It tells you what to do.
Be so popular.
Yeah. Sister of the Year.
Yeah. Selfish.
Great present. Try Theragun for 30 days, starting at only $199. Go to therabody.com/braincandy right now and get your Gen 4 Theragun today. That's therabody.com/braincandy. Therabody.com/braincandy.
Seems like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I owe it to them. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I support your shopping.
Without, or two, So, and like they've been like the nice brothers who like now like pick up the tab when we go out to dinner and stuff. And I'm like, what's this?
That's nice.
Quit it. So I got to like take care of them every once in a while. And that's the way to do it. Okay. So what were we talking
about? You're just shopping and buying jams.
My gosh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I was saying about the Target ones, like, can I wear these out? So this morning I had a thought of, could I wear these pajamas out? Like, my sweatsuit. And I did an inspection. I was like, are there any, they're cool. They're like ombre. They go from like cream to brown. So the top of them is light and the butt area is light. Dangerous. Because that is a frequent stain spot.
Yeah.
There was a big old stain on the hiney.
No.
So that would be an oh no. You can't wear sweatpants out with the stain on the hiney.
No.
So
that's also poor design, if you ask me.
I know. It should be the opposite, right?
Seems like, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I wonder what that
did you get rid of those babies, or are they just indoor only?
They are, no, they're going to go in
they're on probation.
Well, here's what's happening is because I did do another Target haul for all my sweats because they're just the best. I just love them. It's either Brain Candy sweatshirts, which is the top part, Brain Candy, as you can see if you're a Patreon patron. I'm wearing my It's Hard Being a Person sweatshirt, which is my favorite thing in the whole entire world. And I think we're putting up boys ones, like men's. We have the tank top, but it's cold weather, and also I wanted to get it for my brothers because it's so funny.
It's so
I know
cute.
my brother Jordan will freaking love this sweatshirt. So I hooked it up. So, where was I? What was I talking about?
Know.
Oh, yes.
So
I'm talking about my Target clothing haul. So here's the thing I got a whole bunch, but the shipping is kind of like spaced out.
Yeah.
And I got things in multiple sizes because I didn't know what size I was going to be because, you can't, like, now in some of the stores you can't even try things on. So I just had to order them all, and then I'm just going to return whatever doesn't fit and, have a little dressing, like, try-on party in my bedroom. And so I have to wait until I get the new stuff before I throw out the old stuff.
Yeah.
So I have, a week of a very exciting week coming up where so many deliveries are coming.
I made that error kind of whenever it was announced that skinny jeans were no more. And I was like, okay, goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Nice knowing you. Mm-hmm. And then the winter came and boot season was upon us. And I was like, that was a mistake.
That was a mistake. They're necessary.
Need at least a couple pairs for the boots. Mm-hmm. So then I had to buy skinny jeans. I was mad about that.
I'm in the market for some too because of they just get a little
I blame the young kids for making shaming me. Right? Shut up. Mind your business.
Yes.
I'll wear what I fucking want.
That's great. Yeah, wear whatever you want. And you know what? With those those boots, there's a whole art to the cuff and the hem length that matches with the styles of boots. As a warm weather only person, who is now going to a cold weather environment.
You're in for a real shock.
I have had to learn a thing or two. I didn't even know about sizing for boots and like socks that are thick. I learned that and I had to return them. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not actually that size. I'm winter boot 8.
So when someone asks
summer
you
shoe
size,
7.5.
Summer 7.5, winter 8.
Who calls it 7.5, actually? Is everybody mad that I just called it that? You guys are like, 7.5! Nobody calls it 0.5. This is because my brain is in looking at the screen, looking at, like, online shopping numbers, and it's, like, you know, that's, like, I don't see the half. They don't write that, so.
This is one thing, like, if you watch Friends, you know, they live in New York, where it's the same weather as I have, but, like, there is no winter wear going on.
No. There's a whole different wardrobe.
Yeah, and they need to, I wish they did show that, because there's no way to look cute. Then you go to Christmas parties, assholes make you take your shoes off. You know how I hate that. Because you got snow
and you're
on
wearing
your shoes.
tights?
Tights. Or like,
hell no. I would like carry around little slippers.
Well, that's one, okay, but then
like a weirdo.
Let's say you're wearing slacks, then they're long for heels.
And then you're dragging your feet up.
You look like a total idiot.
You do look like a total
Fuck you, Mother
goof.
Nature.
Fuck you. You know what show did it well? Cheers. They were always coming down, and they always were like, boo! Right. And they were all like dusting snow off. So
right, and that is part of why I love
to the art department and wardrobe for like
the method
giving them
acting.
actual snow for that, because that was on a set, I'm sure.
And they needed like to drink and get warmed up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree,
like
Sarah.
Mm-hmm. So
Thank
they
you for
did it right.
noticing that.
They did it right. Yeah. So yeah, I'm learning about boots. I'm learning about that kind of stuff. It's real fun. And I'm also doing like the treat yourself thing, or like this night. The whole point of this conversation was saying about how you know, you've been Santa's workshop over there, and I've been you know, Scrooge McDucking it, or
right,
whatever the Christmas version of that, Ebenezer Scrooging it.
Yeah,
but like,
that's all right though.
You know, I still give in to others, and your son is always one of my favorite people to. He's like the only kid I know now. You know, I need a kid, and it's like my brother still gets stockings.
Like, what are you excited for? And I always think he's going to say, you know, like some video game or something, and he's like socks.
Oh my God, that's
and
so good.
Blankets and cozy stuff.
Because I got him only cozy, like a cozy bundle, and I was like, is it too much cozy? And I was like, should I return one and get a book? Because but no, I'm going
he would
all
not
cozy
like that.
He wouldn't. Okay, because one year he said I only want books.
Yeah, he's out of that phase. Whenever that was.
Okay, this is good to know. I will. Okay, I had regrets, but now I have no regrets. It's good. Go with your instincts, Sarah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And also one thing that was sold out of last year that I got this year, and I'm like, yes, which it's a co-gift for Adam and Lincoln.
Oh,
like
this
tiny.
Is very exciting.
It's not exciting, but it's just exciting to me because I was like, somebody's going to think this is cool. I love it. I love all that stuff. None of this is what I wanted to talk about, but there is one thing that I saw in my whole shopping, and like, you know, because I ordered multiple sizes, I have had to go back and do some returns. Let me tell you, I have seen some real working of the return policy in the old like I you know, as somebody who worked in retail for a long time, I am so like I feel their pain. It is so frustrating, people who like take advantage of the return policy and try to work it. As a customer, I love a good return policy, and I will absolutely take, you know.
But you follow the letter of the law.
I do follow the letter. Correct. And I said that to the woman last night. Okay, so last night, I'm at Target doing a return, picking up an order. And, man, I wish Target were our sponsor. I talk about them so much. They should be. Anyways, you do not get a shout-out to Target until you become our sponsor.
But Tie-Dye does.
Yeah, yes. I got to support the little man. Like, you know. And, okay, so there was a woman in front of me who was returning what were so clearly her Christmas Tupperware bins that, like the big bins from last year. They do a swap. Like, Target is not dumb. First of all, they do like a swap of the colors of, like, the lids were green last year and the year before. The lids were green and the bottom was red. This year they alternate. And then it's a red. They are not. They know. And then they keep track of, like,
why would she return it? I don't get it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you have to wonder, like, is it like you're strapped for cash and, like, this is, like, what still has, so, like, that's sad.
Well, because you still have Christmas stuff.
This lady didn't even clean the glitter out of her.
The glitter. At the bottom of the Christmas
Yes. I was like, oh, bitch, you're not even trying. And when you stack Tupperware and, like, there's pressure, it gets lighter. I was like, you ain't fooling no one. And I was getting so stressed and feeling so much anxiety as, like, a former retailer employee.
Yeah.
I had to walk away and I had to do a lap. And I couldn't. I was like, I am willing to lose my place in line.
Don't you feel like if you had just had some dad grass there that you would have calmed right down?
Everybody in that situation would have benefited from dad grass.
And by the way, this is something you will not want to return. It is a great stocking stuffer.
I was just going to say that.
Totally.
Thanks.
If you want some CBD joints with just a hint of THC, but it's legal, 50 states.
Like, you can still go about your day. You can do all the things. You can be like a regular functioning human,
Yeah.
Just
this
chilled
just
out.
Takes the edge off for your Christmas shopping hell that you're in. And they're 100% organic pre-rolled joints, very low THC, high in CBD, just like mellow you out, just like the good old days. Peace, love, dope. And take it with you wherever you go. TSA approved, so you can take it when you're traveling to go see your in-laws.
This is good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to, because I was like, I had it in my bag, like just the joints, and then I got really nervous.
Well, right. But now you know.
Like, now I know, and there's no need.
And I posted it on our Instagram, but there are like specialty tins that are like hilarious, like where you can stash your joints, are just so funny and great for gifts. Right now, Dadgrass is offering our listeners 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/braincandy. Go to dadgrass.com/braincandy for 20% off your first order. That's dadgrass.com/braincandy.
Nice. I got
Christmas
go ahead shopping to
story.
do. So I had to like take a lap around and because I couldn't even deal with the stress. So then I go up and I do my return, and they're really, and one of the things that's great is they offer like price matching. So if you bought the item like a week ago, you can go back and be like, it's on sale for 50% off now, give me my money. You don't say it like that. You're nicer usually.
Yeah, right.
At least I am. And so I was doing that and going in there, and the woman was saying, I was hearing her try to calm down, like the employee was trying to calm down the other woman who was like, what? I need to return it. Meanwhile, she's like, ma'am, we can see when you purchase this. And then she also was like, also we give you we make an exception, and that goes on record because we scan your license.
I think 1 or 2, yeah.
And she's like, you've maxed out. The sad part was she had her daughter with her, and her daughter was like maybe 10 or 11. And I just wanted to be like, you're going to fuck her up with money issues. And there's a lot that you are fucking her up with. Like, it was not good. There was like so many things like, sometimes like when you know, and then the daughter, like she like sends her daughter off to go like get something, like go get whatever it is that you needed. And then her daughter's walking away, and she says, which is what made me think about all this, like is connected. She goes, oh, look at how stained your sweatpants are. She puts the daughter down. She's deflecting all of the anxiety and and feelings of shame that she feels for the embarrassment of being called out for like this year-old return. And then she just beams them at her daughter.
It's a shame you can't do like ambush therapy sessions.
So I want, sometimes I'm just like, Sarah, don't, just don't. I want to just lean in and be like, who
hurt you?
Yeah, don't.
What happened to you?
I want to just tell the daughter, like, you don't have to, like this, you're going to be okay. And, like, this isn't, I don't know what I would say, but, like, I did step in one time when there was the mom who, remember the hand lotion? Christmas time is it's around the holidays. Christmas time I stepped in.
People aren't at their best.
They're not. That's it. And the stress is high. Yes. And that mom made a comment about how that wasn't a boy scent of hand lotion. And I was like, there are no such thing as a boy scent or girl scent. Does it smell good? Then it's a you scent. The end.
The end.
So yeah, the whole stained sweatpants and everything was just like, I was like, oh my God, now I can't go out and stay in sweatpants. This is a whole thing. So then I go up and I go to do my return, and there was some glitch in like the system. And as she was trying to calm the lady down, I heard her say like, yeah, we've been having a lot of trouble with returns today. And makes sense that it's like the last day of like their Black Friday sale, like things, I don't know, are going to get funky. And, or Cyber Monday or whatever it was, and I went to go do the price matching and everything, and she was like, it says you already returned these, and I was like, already returned them? They're my favorite sweatpants. I wish you had 10 more. I'd buy them. I wore them to bed last night. And I was like, and furthermore, let me tell you, I saw what went down earlier, and I felt so bad for you, I had to walk away. Like, as somebody who is a former retail employee, I am so sorry you have to deal with that, and I understand that difficult. And she was like, which one? And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. We just had, like, a whole moment, and she was like, here's your money. And she, like, did it for me and was like, here, it's fine.
Why did it say you had returned them?
I don't know. There was, like, there really were, glitches going on. She's like, my whole system has been doing weird stuff today. You know,
they're my favorite sweatpants.
They really are. They're so good. I'm so glad. I'm just like, yeah, I have been wearing those. I did get what I got. I ordered 3 new pairs. And so one of them I've been rocking.
Too much.
But I did get, they are cream. They are still light color.
I know.
AWH. I just love. When will I learn? I just like living on the edge. Maybe it's what I need is like I have to do that because it keeps me clean. Like if I had, I'm not
kidding.
She
likes working without a net.
If I don't like, I have to buy everything in white because if I then I go like this and I go, I can't wipe it on my clothes.
Right.
But if my clothes are black, 100%.
Wow.
Yes, it is like that. It's like it keeps me.
Okay.
I need the rules and the boundaries
and all that.
Yeah, so, yes. I've just been, like, doing a lot of thinking about the family stuff and the where we learn these messages.
I love that you're losing your marbles today. It's so great. Oh, I love it. It's in the best way.
I feel like my marbles are so together.
They're not. It's great.
Oh, oh no.
More
is this
in,
one
like,
of those
entertaining, not, like, crazy. Just you're being funny.
Oh, you know what it was? Is even though I spent the first, oh my God, like half of this show talking about sort of personal stuff, I was so excited to do this episode because of the stuff that I had to talk about. Like I read some really great articles on this family stuff, and one concept in particular that I am super excited to hear your take on because I feel like you will have way more information than I do on this. So I have been talking to a lot of people recently, and mostly women, who will tell me that they aren't really, like they don't do well with negative emotions. Like they don't even know sometimes what those feelings will feel like, and they didn't really get a good lesson on, and like no, you know, and this is so many people would just like know about happy emotions, and like when we talk about sad ones, you know, we'll say like, oh well, it feels like it's just not happy. And
really?
Yes, this is a lot of people. I was having this conversation with multiple friends about this.
Did you say, or am I misremembering? Did you say it's mostly women?
Yes.
Or okay.
But I think that's only because that's who my friends are and who I talk to. Like but I think this is why, and I'm getting what I'm going to get to. The thing that the common thread here, I think that having a jokey dad is a form of emotional neglect.
Mm-hmm. I totally understand this.
And so I have been thinking about, like, I'm like, I'm sure you do this, where you, like, are writing the article in your head, and, like, the title is, like, why we, like, the death of the dad joke, and, like, how, because, and I've Googled so many things like this, I hear there are two camps, there are two separate groups. Articles written by women that say, here's why my dad being jokey with me messed me up, and how I didn't like that, and how his jokes really hurt my feelings. I read an article in The Atlantic about that. Then we have the other camp over here that looked at it, mostly men, articles written by men, that are looking at another article in The Atlantic about the science of dad jokes. And that talks about how they are using humor to connect. And then they boil it down to where it's more for the person telling the joke than it is for the people, which we've talked about on here before. You talked about that. I think it was that article that you even talked about on here.
Yeah.
No article I have read has combined the knowledge of the two, where it says that dads joke as a way to avoid emotional
intimacy and connection.
Connection. I have some loose, some arguments that they make about how it's a way to avoid. There's like this desire to avoid any sort of Adam,
speaking of a dad joke.
Yes, there you go.
I'm best at dad jokes.
I had to tell him to stop it.
I wish I could hear you. And then
oh, yeah, he can't hear you. But
that's too bad.
The people can hear you, though. I'd say hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Your haircut looks real good.
He brought me tea in my brain candy mug.
Oh, I thought I had my brain candy mug today,
Look
but I don't.
Look how cute it is if you're
so
on Patreon.
Good. I freaking love that mug.
It's
me
so
too.
cute.
It's so cute. And look at my sweatshirt.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
she was showing you her sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
There you go.
Loves
there you go.
it.
Behind the scene action.
Okay, go ahead.
So that dads are trying to connect in a way that isn't at all sexual in nature or aggressive. And so they go with this super, cornball safe humor that so I hear that argument, that side of it, but not the one that talks about how a dad.
Why don't they just be sincere, though?
Yeah,
it's like they don't even consider that option.
What they're doing is subtly dismissing and saying that your sadness or your anger or whatever doesn't matter. Not even that it doesn't matter, that you shouldn't have that we should transform that. And the ways that they're basically coping mechanisms for avoiding feelings. Yeah. And the ways that men use, the coping mechanisms that men most frequently use to avoid feelings are humor and activity. And so they're like, oh, let's go do this thing instead. And so it teaches us it doesn't teach us how to sit with. It teaches
avoidance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that leads to us being cut off from those emotions because we never learn what they feel like, and then we think that we're doing something wrong when we experience them.
Yeah.
There's so many layers to that. And I just keep hearing, I was talking with friends of mine who had jokey dads. and then I thought about you, and I was like, okay, jokey dad. This is definitely a thing we've discussed, and that is definitely, you've hinted at, been a way to avoid all of that emotional stuff.
Yeah, and what you're saying, where the dads are doing it with maybe the intention of like not being aggressive or sexual or whatever, and that's a good thing.
Right.
But it's also true that they're avoiding the intimacy. And in connection with myself, I'm very grateful that I learned how to use humor to get through life. Life is hard. Any kind of survival skill can be used at times and be the right choice. And I have found it to be very useful. Mm-hmm. But there also is true that it has prevented sometimes connecting and developing sincere and earnest relationships, especially within my family, because I just told my brother and sister this, how like in our family, being earnest was the grossest thing you could ever be. Like a very special episode of the Meister Family. That is not happening. So then you kind of like
you
don't
can't
learn.
even get through saying that earnestly. You have to you have to use
it feels
that
gross.
because it's so hard to talk about even that. Like we do it, we don't even know. It's such a coping mechanism that's deeply rooted in there.
It makes our skin crawl, like that feeling of like, I love you. Like, come on. So,
like, what's wrong with you? Yes, that's what your family would say.
And I've been thinking a lot about the phrase, I'm just joking. The just.
That's definitely, it's so dismissive. It's so.
That word just is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. What do you mean just?
Yep. It is super, super, super harmful. And that was the article that was written by the woman that was talking about how her dad just said, "Oh, can't you take a joke? Oh, I'm just kidding." And what that did.
Yeah, what that word just means, it means you're not allowed to be upset or offended or push back in any way.
Yep.
That absolves them of any responsibility.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, when joking with your kids isn't funny. And can't you take a joke? That's what her dad would say. If you've ever been on the receiving end of one of these comments, you know it can make you feel even worse than the joke that was just made at your expense. When kids become the butt of the family jokes, it can hurt. This is the article. Oh, it was in Huffington Post. This is a real thing, and I only hear the women in that because it's the dad. It's almost like is training the son to take over as the in the dad joke role. Like, and this is also in South Korea and Japan, there are specific words in their language for this kind of joking. It's joking that an older man, usually an uncle or a dad, does with a younger kid that makes the younger kid roll his eyes, and it's usually bad, like translates loosely like bad humor, dad humor.
Wow.
And so it's
universal.
Yes. And so it's like, is it, and there was another article that was talking about how, it was the different role that the dad had in the family. And when the dad went from being more of this like, I don't know, like authoritative, like, I'm just the one who like goes out and makes money and they don't really have any connection to the kids. Yeah. When that shifted. Yeah. That shift did not happen that long ago. It was like 2 generations ago. Right. Yeah. So our dad's dad.
They didn't have a model.
Holy crap. Gave them like the worst. Like they never received a hug. Nobody said, I love you.
Do you feel like another way to say I love you is with some Mrs. Fields cookies?
Well, I mean, that's a delicious coping mechanism that for the holidays I fully support.
I'll tell you.
I will admit that I may have gotten a gift of some Mrs. Fields cookies that I think may have been for an entire family.
Thank you.
I ate them all.
Well, okay, so these are great. They are such a great gift. I'm getting them for my nephew who just went away to college this year because I thought, what a great, comforting thing to receive. And like they just
Isn't it crazy how Mrs. Fields cookies takes you back? It took me back to shopping at the mall with my mom, and I was like, I do love white chocolate macadamia. I used to always be like, no, I don't want that one. Yes, I do want that one.
Yes,
I want so much of that one.
And then for myself, I got the chocolate-covered pretzels, I'm just saying. So I recommend them.
I didn't even know they made them.
Oh, yeah. They have all different kinds. Like, it's not just the iced sugar cookie. Like, there's so many brownies.
And if you think people who make cookies, like, they are going to do other stuff, like chocolate-covered almonds.
Yeah.
Like, you think you've had a good chocolate-covered almond? No. Go to the people who make delicious cookies for your chocolate. They also make delicious other things that, like, you've not even tried.
They're so
chocolate-covered
cute,
pretzels.
too. And they're, like, packaged so whimsically.
Like a snowman.
So cute for the holidays. And right now, listeners get 20% off everything site-wide. So you go to mrsfields.com/candy. That's right. That Mrs. Fields gift to you. 20% off everything when you visit mrsfields.com/candy. Get 20% off at mrsfields.com/candy.
Well, isn't that the best, like, go-together link? Like, they just keep that.
Right. I know. You're welcome, Mrs. Fields.
/candy. Like, yes. Okay, so I have a list.
You mentioned this stuff about the dads. That's really interesting.
Yeah, so, you know, and I had to get your take on it because, you know, not having a male, I have more of that mom thing, you know, of like so I tried to make it balanced. You know, my brain was like, this is what I'm hearing a lot of around the holidays. I get a lot of family stuff. You know, we talk a lot about family stuff. Like, I feel like a lot of my friends, you know, we're at this age. We even talked about this, you and I, where we're like, I'm done doing the, like, you're like done with putting up with.
Yeah.
It's like, I got to either set some boundaries, draw the line in the sand, or I got to, like, you know.
People are in the doghouse with me when I start saying, I don't want to cast my pearls to swine.
Yeah.
Like, that's always like, uh-oh, Susie's pissed.
Uh-oh. Yep. Some people are swines.
Because you only want to give of yourself to people who value that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's been like, I've been just thinking a lot about, like, the thing, like, the ways that, and I think it's with the best intentions, too. You know, like, the dad jokes and even moms trying to handle it all themselves. Like, saying, like, that I can do it. That phrase it's so simple, but it can be really difficult to be in relationships when you're a woman who doesn't need help with anything and isn't willing to, and I should say doesn't need help with anything, relates getting help with weakness. Mm-hmm. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That not even asking for it, that somebody that
like, my mom won't even admit she's tired. Remember how I told you she went to the eye doctor and she was like, yeah, every day at a certain time my eyes start burning. And he was like, that means you're tired. You have to go to bed, you dummy.
Oh, my gosh.
But there's a lot of people like that who they will not even say, I'm hungry or tired or hot or cold or whatever.
Freaking brush their teeth with soap, you know? So, and, like, just because you just don't have to. So, like, it can, and then when you're in a relationship, it can make the other person feel like, well, then what do I do? What's my job? And it's subtle. These things are not directly communicated. They are subtly and indirectly communicated through our actions and our behaviors, and saying no all the time, or like that we don't care about choices of, like, well, where do you want to eat? Oh, I don't care. Of, like, eventually people stop asking, and then it's like these kind of things where we feel like we're
not considered.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so, you know, it's all signs of ways that we were emotionally neglected. And I want to really stress that it's, like, not intentional, that these are things that, like, dads learned from their dads, and it's with the best of it, like, They want to make you feel good. So when it's hard for people to like accept that there was some childhood emotional neglect when they have parents that are really good and wonderful. Oh, excuse me, I'm burpy. All of a sudden, my coffee went down the wrong.
Coming back to haunt you.
Yeah, something that was weird. But yeah, so it's hard for people to kind of like hold those two thoughts in their mind and like those two realities. But I have a little list of 5 things this is from Psych Central. It's 5 signs of emotional neglect in your relationship with your father. So number 1, do you feel a bit awkward or uncomfortable when you're alone with your father? Number 2, do you feel that your dad doesn't actually know the real you? Number 3, is your relationship with your father bland or does it feel empty? Number 4, do you struggle to make conversation with your dad? Number 5, do you tend to snap or feel angry at your father and then feel guilty or confused about it?
Wow. I got 4 out of 5, and I can honestly say I never, ever in my whole life had a sincere conversation with him.
Wow.
Like, we spoke all the time and, like, joked, and it was all surface nonsense. No,
that's
absolutely
the thing people confuse is communication with talking.
Yeah.
That people are like, oh, yeah, we talk all the time. My family talks all the time, too, but nobody communicates.
I always say, like, I see people, everyone's doing a lot of talking, but no one's actually saying anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I'll say that we talk at each other in my family.
Yeah,
We're like, we more inform each other of things and teach each other things than really like, it's like, in a way, it's a way to avoid, we use facts as a way to avoid emotional, like.
Right, you're like,
which is why I went into the business of it, because I was like, I gotta do this.
Well,
go to an extreme.
This is actually a good segue to our guest, who played Ma Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie.
It's perfect.
She has a book out. Her name is Karen Grassle, and the book is called Bright Lights, Prairie Dust, Reflections on Life, Loss, and Love. And I don't know, did you grow up watching Little House at all?
I knew so many people who did. And so, like, I remember having dress-up clothes that were Little House on the Prairie style and, like, talking about it all the time. But I think I was a little bit too young. So it was the older girls that had it. And I was just wanted to be like all of them and was like, look at me with my bonnet.
Well,
I remember the dad being kind of cute and hunky, though.
Yeah, Michael Landon, super hot. Yeah. No doubt about it. But he was also, the producer. He was in charge of the show, in addition to being Pa. And so she talks a lot in her book about that relationship and how it was difficult because she tried to negotiate pay that was, what she deserved. Equal. Yeah. And he said, like, she should be paid what the little girls were paid. So that was like,
Well, minus points for him.
Right. So I asked her about that. And, she
looks only get you so far.
A relationship with her dad that would fit into the 5 out of 5 probably. Because
most people did. I think... I think the standard is not to have a dad who's like, hey,
who's like Pa Ingalls.
Right, let's come talk about that. Somebody had to teach them how to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just really enjoyed speaking to her. And on the show, I mean, Karen had such a beautiful, way. And in the book, she describes it as a purity of spirit that she brought to the character. And I would agree. Because it really, you felt as if you were comforted and like you wanted to be in the Ingalls family, and it was really special. So it was an honor to interview her and hear about her career. She's, I I think she's around 80 now. Wow. And I just was so
like
charmed
old-time
by
Hollywood.
Her. Yeah, I was like,
stories.
You're a national treasure.
Yes, for real.
Because she is. I think a lot of our listeners grew up watching the show.
I think so too.
And will appreciate seeing Karen Grassle now. So before I introduce her, I will encourage people, if you want to take a break from real life, why don't you try some Best Fiend action? Yes. Yellow.
Oh, hey. I got a new phone, and I never updated with the old stuff on the other one, and so I re-downloaded the app, and I was, like, so sad of, like, oh, my God.
You thought you weren't going to have your levels.
Well, here's what's so great. They change it up so much that I get all new fun ones, and it's, like, all the, like...
She's fine with it.
Totally fine with that. I thought I was going to have to start from the... Nope, you get to do all the new ones, all the fun stuff. It's the best. They just keep that thing updated. I didn't even care.
Best Fiends, super fun gameplay, amazing storyline. You can collect the fiends. There's all new challenges all the time. And you don't need Wi-Fi, so you can do it when you're traveling or just wherever you are. Super fun. Download Best Fiends free today on the App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R, Best Fiends, and maybe your levels will get somewhere close to where Sarah's is. And anyway, check out Karen Grassle's book, Bright Lights, Prairie Dust, and welcome her to the show. Welcome, Karen. I just finished your beautiful book, Bright Lights, Prairie Dust, Reflections on Life, Loss, and Love from Little House's Ma. What a delight it was to get to know you better through your book, because most of us just know the characters you've played, and it's a real testament to how talented you are that we kind of believe that you are that person or those people. So
when you're in somebody's living room once a week, people really do begin to feel that they know you. Right. And didn't it feel a little bit scary, though, actually telling your true life story now? Yes. It took me a long time to write it. So I think I was peeling the layers and adjusting to the fact that I was going to share my story at this deep level over a period of time. And so now that it's out there, it's kind of a wonderful feeling. I mean, it's all out there. I don't have anything I need to hide or protect. I don't have to hide any of it. Isn't that liberating? It's pretty amazing. Wow. And why do you think it felt like the right time now? Well, it just took this long. I mean, it took me forever to write it. And then the book got rejected by everybody. Why? You have to ask them. And that takes a long time because, they have to send it out, then they have to read it, then they have to reject it. So you lose a lot of time that way. And then once you do settle with a publisher, the bookmaking process is very slow. It's really a time-consuming process. So it isn't that I chose now. It's just that's how long it took. Wow. Well, I'm so glad you did it because, like I said, it was a joy to read. And you have such a fascinating life. Whenever you're processing your life story in this way, does it feel cathartic to write it, or is it kind of like traumatizing? It wasn't traumatizing, but at times the sadness of it did make me cry as I was writing. Yeah. But it's very healing to write these memories, to share them in this way on the page. Somehow it gives you a different perspective. So I feel like the whole process has been really healing for me. Oh, that's great. Yeah. I mean, that alone makes it worth it, don't you think? Yes. Yeah. That's so special. I was fascinated to hear the story of your growing up and your family life. And I found the relationship with your parents to be so interesting. Your mom was an interesting character because she was quite loving, but maybe not as affectionate as some are.
Did you notice that at the time, or was that only upon reflection?
No, we didn't notice because that was life.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like you don't notice what your hometown is like because that's the only place you know.
Right.
But I did feel much more simpatico with my dad, who seemed to get me more than she did. And I realized later that Mom was worried for me because she saw these talents. She saw this person who was reaching out, and she feared for me. So I think that was part of why she wasn't as encouraging as I wanted her to be. But at the same time, she worked backstage when we had our little dance recitals. I mean, she sewed costumes. She was president of the PTA. You know what I mean? She was fully engaged. But there was something I wanted from her that I wasn't getting. And it was encouragement that there was something special that I had to bring to the world.
I mean, that's sort of the core of what every human wants, to know that they matter and they are special. Do you think that urge to feel that sort of, sense of worth contributed to your interest in religion at such a young age?
I think it was the alcoholism that made me uneasy as a child at only 5 years old. And I was seeking some answers for what I sensed in the home. And I thought that Jesus would be able to fix it. And so that gave me a lot of solace until I thought I was a big sinner. And then I started to have nightmares that I was going to hell.
I mean, that's not good. But that is sort of the flip side of it, right?
It was the flip side of that particular kind of religion.
Yes, that is for sure. I remember there was a scene in the book where you were doing a Tennessee Williams play and your dad came to see it, and he wasn't exactly one to shower you with praise, but he said that you were impressive. And I wondered if that sort of made a difference in terms of your future. Did it keep you on that path?
It really helped me.
Yeah.
I was still going forward, but the fact that he secretly let me know that he believed in me just gave me that vote of confidence that we all need,
Yeah, because it feels like, and I mean, we all chase that kind of confirmation that we're on the right track and that our parents think we're special, but that seemed like a special moment for you.
It really was.
I think it's so interesting how with actors, you often crave, a steady gig, but then in your case, your steady gig ended up being on television, but you really, really were into the theater. Did that feel like a conflict for you?
It was a conflict for me because I needed the job, but I thought, this job probably lasts 3 years. I didn't know it was going to last 50 years, but
oh my gosh. Right.
3 years just playing one part, I didn't really like that idea. But all my training, all my heart had been in the theater.
Yeah.
So it was a big adjustment. Plus, I had a lot to learn about how to do it. Just how to sustain myself over a 12-hour day after day after day. Because in the theater, you kind of build yourself up to a performance. You give all you've got, and then you recover. But here, there was very little recovery time.
And so it's almost like a skill you had to learn.
Yes, and it took time.
Whenever you were doing this show, Little House, In the book, you mentioned that you brought to Ma a purity of spirit. And I thought that was such a beautiful way to put it. What does that mean to you?
I don't know why I am this way, but I was born this way.
Yeah.
I was born with this spirit that believes in the human being and believes we can do better and believes that there is something profoundly beneficial operating in the universe. And that's just innate. But the alcoholism, that nearly killed it.
Yeah. Don't you think that they're connected though? Because if you have that sense of the big picture, it's like you're a raw nerve, don't you think?
That's right. That's exactly right. I felt before, for many years, I felt like my nerves were about 2 feet out from my body, so that the sensitivity to everything was so intense.
Yeah.
And alcohol actually helped with that.
Right.
It helped to kind of calm that down and reassure me. So you can see why you get addicted. I mean, it's just great medicine until it isn't.
Exactly. And so what do you think after you decided that wasn't the life for you? You mentioned that you kind of traded in alcohol for health, wellness. How did that work for you?
Well, really what happened was that I had to have help from a spiritual source. And the spiritual source came mostly in the form of other sober people sharing with me how to do it without your medicine. So the raw nerve came back big time, but they taught me things like taking good care of myself, being sure to have a good meal, not getting too hungry, trying to get rest and reach out for support when I felt, very nervous and at loose ends. And that all worked.
Yeah. It's pretty magical. We always say on this show, it's hard being a person. It just is. Right?
That's right.
Sometimes you got to have somebody tell you, you got to rest or have a sandwich or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you detail in the book the difficulties you had with some contract negotiations, and how painful that was, did you feel at the time that you were being brave and strong, or did you just feel this is just what has to be done?
Oh, no, I didn't feel brave and strong.
No?
No. Oh, no.
Because it was, don't you think now?
Now, when I see what I did,
yeah.
I'm amazed.
Yeah.
I even say to myself, where did I get the guts to do that?
Right.
But, I just had this very strong sense of fairness. And I knew it was only fair to pay me commensurate with what other series stars get. And so I just hung on. I don't know how I did it, but I did. And finally, of course, they settled the contract.
Did you take it personally that it was such a big fight?
Yeah, it did hurt my feelings that Mike didn't show appreciation for what I brought to the table.
Yeah.
Because I did bring a lot to the table.
You did.
And it hurt my feelings that he tried to manipulate me by telling me that the character wasn't popular and that there had to be parity between me and the girls, and started cutting me out of scenes. So all of that was very, very hurtful.
Yeah.
I didn't know I knew how to hang in, but I didn't know how to protect myself from feeling wounded.
Yeah.
And so that contributed to me drinking more because I was a poor little me. I was being punished. And I had a lot of self-pity and I was very morose. And I guess the way I look at that now is, well, he was helping me to hit bottom.
Wow, that is a nice way to look at it. Because it ended up a positive outcome. But did you think that in his mind, it was just business?
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
I cannot guess what was in his mind.
Yeah. Well, I think that you added so much to the show, of course. And I'm sure you hear this constantly. And I wonder if you feel burdened at all by you're a national treasure. Like, that's a big load to carry. Do you feel that, or are you just happy about it, or what?
I don't feel that. In fact, I live a very quiet life, and I don't live a life of, I was Ma. So I moved to the Bay Area where people are less interested in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And, I have a very nice, quiet life here. And I've been doing theater and I go out and do plays in other places. And, it's been one of the surprises for me with bringing the book out to find out how powerful people's feelings are for this character. How much people love Ma.
Yeah.
And, I worked very hard at the time. I really, really tried to do a good job. Mm-hmm. But the gratification that I get right now is beyond anything I could have dreamed.
Well, I'm so glad because it's so deserved. And you were right. There was a purity of spirit. There was something so special about the way that you portrayed her. And that's a gift to people. It really is.
I see that. I think it is.
Another thing I wanted to mention was how I really loved learning that you really fought for women's rights and advocated for women, even like the movie that you made, Battered. Mm-hmm. Why was that important to you?
Well, I came from a complicated family. And Little House portrayed a very idealistic family. And it wasn't unusual to read in the press, my kids, after they watch Little House, look at me like, can't you do a better job?
Right. You set the bar too high.
Yeah. So I felt like I would like to speak to the more complicated families. And my friend Cynthia Lovelace Sears and I began to look for material that we would be able to bring to NBC for a movie of the week that would deal with some more gritty complications of family life. And then I was out on tour to promote Little House, and I met this reporter, and she had done all this original research. And she told me what was going on. And I said, that's it. That's what we have to write about. So that's what we did.
I'm so glad you did. Did you feel that people received it appropriately?
It was amazing. People felt, either they felt, I had no idea and we must do something. Or people said, I have to get some help for this.
Wow.
Because they realized it does not have to be this way.
That must have been very gratifying for you, especially during the chaos of the contract stuff. It's nice to be validated.
It was fantastic. And then also, we got to lobby for legislation to help shelters all over the country. And there were police departments that started using our film as a training film to help keep the officers safe, because it turned out that domestic violence was the worst kind of call for them. Mm-hmm. It's very common for them to suffer death or injury.
It's so important. And you still hear now how that's often a predictor of violence in other aspects of shooters, etc. So it's still relevant today, the work that you did.
Goodness, yes.
Yeah.
You know, all the shelters are full, even as we're speaking.
What a shame. But I'm so grateful for people like you who get a platform and then try to do good with it.
Oh, thank you.
That's a big job. Do you feel, well, I wondered what your son thinks of the book. Does he enjoy it, or is he like, what are you doing?
Well, I think that the whole project has grown and mushroomed and become so big that we're both like, oh.
What have I done?
Yes. He said to me last week, Mom, you're working awfully hard.
Oh, man.
I'm tired. And I said, well, I just didn't know it was going to be this much work.
It's a public service. We thank you. I mean, I see why. And, you know, nostalgia has become such a big thing and so comforting to people, especially the last few years. So,
yeah, with the pandemic, our audience just...
Yeah, man. You're doing the Lord's work, I'm telling you. We ask everybody one last question, which is, if you have a car, what do you keep in the trunk of your car?
Well, books.
Yeah, I love that. Are they your books or like ones you're going to read?
These are my books.
Okay.
Because what if somebody needs them?
Oh.
You know, if I go to read at a bookstore, they might need more books. So the publisher told me, put 2 boxes of books in your trunk.
See, this confirms our theory. We think that whatever you keep in the trunk of your car is sort of indicative of where you are in your life at the moment.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where you're at. Well, I loved it. And I know our audience is going to love your book as well. And you're just such a beautiful person inside and out. And the things you wrote about probably weren't easy, but we're so thankful.
Thank you. It's just a delight talking with you. You're such a lovely person. And I'm so happy that we got to do this.
Me too. And I love that we're twins.
Yes, isn't it fun?
Gosh, I hope you're the ghost of Christmas future. I just will try to manifest that for myself. Thank you so much. And please do rest and don't overwork yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Bye.